Good evening, everybody, or good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for being here. Before I go on, I just want to say thank you for your investment of your time, because I know your time is valuable. So we're going to give you a lot of value here, and it's going to be super cool. So before I introduce George, I just want to talk about why I brought him on, because recently I've actually encouraged, or rather enrolled, my parents into buying one of these machines, because my father's had several strokes and he's very sedentary. And my mother's got this shoulder, kind of like an injury, but not an injury. And it's been helping them, and it's been helping me as well, actually. And I came across this device a few years ago when a friend of mine was suffering from fibromyalgia. And it was kind of one of the best solutions for him. It was kind of night and day, in his words, as to the effectiveness it had for making him mobile again and pain-free and able to walk again, which is really quite remarkable. So this is really about getting better blood flow. We all know that blood is our river of life. It transports oxygen and nutrients and hormones around the body to every single cell in the body, meaning every single cell, meaning every organ, every tissue, every bone, every ligament. Everything requires blood flow. Every single cell in the body requires all of those things. So it's a very exciting device. And I brought George on, who is the national sales director now for BEMER, and he's had a lot of success with his team, and he's really been rolling this out pretty solidly for the last 4 years now, and it's pretty amazing the kind of results his customers have had from this. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on George. George, thank you for being here. I appreciate you being here. Thank you for your time. I'll hand it over to you to take over.
Well, thanks, Neil, and thanks everybody for getting on this call tonight. It's a privilege and an honor to be spreading the word of BEMER now throughout England. I am from the United States, near Philadelphia area, in a little town called Lancaster, Pennsylvania, home of the Amish. And I've taken the last 4 years learning about BEMER, promoting it throughout the country and sharing the story and really transforming a lot of lives. And that's what it's really about, transforming lives with this medical device that really is almost unheard of what it's doing for people's bodies. So I'm going to open up my presentation here. Just give me 1 second to share it. There we go. Can you see that, Neil?
I can see it, yeah.
Good. And I'll get started with what BEMER is all about. So I will start with my story because, I'm 58 years old right now. I'm 6'3", 200 pounds, always been in great shape, played sports all my life, mostly tennis. And 4 years ago, I was feeling numbness right in this part of my arm. And, bothered me, of course. I went to a doctor. They told me to get a stress test. And if you've ever been on a stress test, you ride that treadmill, see how fast or how long it takes your heartbeat to get up to a certain level. And I made it to the highest level, stage 5, they call it, level 5. And 2 cardiologists told me that they don't know why I'm feeling this numbness. They don't think it's heart related. They said there's only 1% chance of having heart disease based on your results. So I continued working out. But I had this God-sent intuition that something wasn't right. So I went to a 3rd cardiologist that I knew really well. And I said, what do you think? And he said, well, based on your stress test, they're right. There's probably not high odds of heart disease, but there's no way to know without a catheterization. So thankfully, 2 days later, I went and had a catheterization. And within 10 minutes, they said, wow, you're a shock of the year. All 3 of your arteries are 90% blocked. And a week later, I had open heart surgery, and believe it or not, 8 bypasses. And then they were all amazed that I didn't have a major heart attack, and I would have never survived it. So I was very blessed. I was one of the fortunate ones that have that second chance in life. And I really think it was a purpose in that, with BEMER coming along a year later. So 6 months after that surgery, I started feeling that numbness again, and 2 of my bypasses closed up. And the doctor said there's nothing they could do. Part of my heart wasn't functioning right. So I heard about this BEMER technology, and they said something interesting to me. They said, build up collateral around your heart, get more blood flow, oxygen, work out. Well, someone told me that's what the BEMER did. So I laid on this mat like you will at one point, didn't feel much. I didn't understand bioenergy, and my son happened to be in Florida, and they were doing a medical seminar on it, and he went and researched it, and he came back and said, Dad, I think this is what you need. So I purchased it, and I could tell you within 2 weeks, prior to that, I was taking naps every day, always tired. And within 2 weeks, I said, wow, this is crazy. I'm going to bed midnight, waking up at 6 o'clock, feeling great. So I knew it was doing something to the energy of the cell. What I didn't know was what it was really doing to the total body. And pure coincidence, the first person I shared this with had an issue with circulation in his foot, was ready to get amputation on the toe. And I told him this was about circulation. He tried BEMER. Within 10 days, had full circulation again, no amputation. So I actually flew over to Germany or Liechtenstein, where the company is. I researched it. I found out it was very big throughout at least Germany and most of Europe, over 2 million users. And I brought it back to the United States. I became an independent distributor for them. And in my 4-year journey, I was able to share this and sell about 120 units. My team did over 10,000 units. And I could tell you it's transformed our life, both from a health standpoint and financially. So I'll give you a little brief. And I don't know all the laws in England, so I'm going to give you the U.S. laws. In the U.S., we don't say BEMER treats diseases or cures diseases, and don't stop taking medication or not seeing a doctor. It's a beautiful modality that brings a lot of blood flow and oxygen to the body, and usually your body will heal itself in time. So again, you'll have to review your own laws based on your what's called FDA or Federal Drug Administration. So here's how I like to start. And as I go through this, really think how you are and where you are in your life. So, this should have been a picture of me 4 years ago, because if someone asked me how I felt, I was a lot of stress. I lost a lot of money in our market when it crashed. I was starting my life over at 54. I'm convinced today that stress is probably the #1 killer of all diseases, or creating disease, because it builds up inflammation, et cetera. So on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you? 10 being the worst. Are you stressed? You have discomfort anywhere? Are you restless? Are you unfocused? You have low energy? Are you tired all the time? I can tell you in the United States, the #1 and 2 complaints of all people isn't their pain. It's always, I'm lacking energy and I'm always tired, and 70 million people suffer from sleep. So think where you feel, and I'll come back to that at the end. The second thing that I always like to teach and train on, and again, I don't come from a holistic background or medical background. I'm saying this just observationally and from my travels throughout the country of the U.S., that there is a health crisis. And I think it's happening in a lot of places around the world. So, we have one of the highest, let's say, health systems in the country, in the world, yet they say with all the advances in technology, our health is going down more than ever because of all the drugs. Obesity in the United States was 7% when I graduated high school in 1979. Today it's 41%, and overweight is over 70%. And again, I know that's getting worse in other different countries, even though I do think you are a little healthier in Europe than we are here in the United States. The drug industry is taking over. We have something called a book called Our Daily Meds, how the pharmaceutical companies has transformed themselves into a slick marketing machine and hook the nation on drugs. Now, again, you can see all the countries here in Europe, I'll show you Mexico, don't use half the drugs we do. But again, it's still becoming an epidemic, even though it's more quiet in England. They don't advertise like we do in the United States. People still tend to go that route when they want to get instant gratification or get rid of their issues. So around here, and probably over there, which you guys are way more holistic than we are, we've been saying, how would you like to get more blood flow? How would you like to get more oxygen and nutrients? How would you like to get better cardiac function, better sleep management, waist, physical fitness, endurance, concentration, and ultimately less stress in your life? And I think stress is everywhere, so I don't think that's on one side of the ocean versus the other. But as Neil said, and he does a lot of research on this, when your body's getting more blood flow, you're getting more oxygen, the best doctor is really not the Western medical doctor, even the holistic doctor. It's a doctor within us that says, give me blood flow, give me oxygen, and I can heal myself in most directions. And Neil can maybe speak more on that as we finish this presentation. So imagine if you could do that in a natural way. The other thing I love about BEMER and what you're going to learn tonight is that we're not testing this in England. It's relatively new in England. It's just the country just opened up in the last year. But the company's been around 20 years out of Liechtenstein near Germany. And there is over 1 million to 2 million users in Europe. It's in over 3,000 to 4,000 hospitals and clinics. Thousands of top athletes are using it. Has worldwide patents, not pending patents, has 5 worldwide patents, has a lot of medical publications. NASA, who is our scientist, the smartest, let's say, scientists in the world, have collaborated with BEMER, that's out of Liechtenstein, to really figure out how this unique wave is stimulating so much blood flow. So again, anywhere I go around the world, I always love to say, we're not here to test it. We're here to educate you on some technology that you might not be aware of. And if you understand it, it'll do wonders to your body. So again, great credibility for us. NASA's behind it and did a joint collaboration. So this new paradigm shift, or this disruptive technology, it's really all about bioenergy. Now again, our bodies are electric first and chemical second. And the future is, taking care of the electric side versus the chemical side. And that's what we're going to learn more about, and you're going to hear a little bit about it. But again, on this presentation, I'm only going to go on the surface of the education, and then Neil can get you some really good detailed videos about the science, the wave, if you're science-oriented, or about our program. So the future is called electroceuticals, right? It used to be pharmaceuticals and nutraceuticals, but these electroceuticals are the wave of the future for sure. So the biggest pharmaceutical company in the world is GlaxoSmithKline, and they're spending over $700 million creating a bioenergy firm. And look what they say: the future of curing disease is going to be through these electrical signals. So we know that's the direction that things are going. So again, here it's a FDA registered product. Actually, in Europe, it's at the highest level of a medical product out there. So it's been approved, has all the science behind it. And again, we get you all that research when you need it. So I'm going to go a little brief through the body and how BEMER works. And if Neil wants to add, that's great. If not, he'll do it at the end. So over here, we love to talk about the iceberg principle. And I think this is generic worldwide. And it's basically saying, we always seem to treat the symptoms, right? Oh, I have discomfort in my arm. Oh, you can get a cortisone shot. Oh, I feel unfocused. I'll take Ritalin or Adderall, which kids are here taking all the time. Hey, I'm stressed. Take an ibuprofen. Oh, I'm tired and I need energy. Oh, drink another Red Bull or more coffee, whereas you would probably do espresso. So we're kind of always taking care of the symptoms. But as Neil said, the key to life and health is what's happening below the surface. Okay, what's happening to the cell state? Are we getting enough supply of oxygen? Are we getting enough nutrients? Or are we a low supply? Are we getting the waste out? Better cardiac function, right? Increasing blood flow, not decreasing. So a lot of you can't see me because I'm not standing up. But again, on the surface, being 6'3", 200 pounds, I look pretty healthy. But who would ever thought below the surface, I had two arteries. I had two arteries that were 90% blocked, and all the bypasses I needed. So maybe I should have been focusing on the inside of my body versus the outside and just getting immediate gratification. So I didn't eat well and other things. So we want to focus on beneath the surface, the root issues, and how BEMER can help you along the way in those areas, along with other things that Neil has discovered. So I love this here. You can just read it. The path to wellness is simple, right? There's 100 trillion cells in your body. They have to be nourished and cleansed via these little capillary vessels, which we'll talk about in a second. And you have to have nutrients and oxygen in, and you got to get toxins out. So the river of life is blood flow. We all know that. But here's what most people don't know, that 26% of your body is these major veins and arteries, but 74% is these little micro vessels that are 1/10 the size of a piece of hair that could circle the earth 2.5 times. I mean, it's pretty incredible how our body is designed. Now, in the Western world, our doctors only deal with the major veins and arteries, 26% of your body. They don't deal with the microcirculatory area, which is the other 74% of body. So think about it once. You're 40 years old, you're pretty healthy, and you wake up one day, what's the first thing to go? It's your eyes, right? 10 million capillary vessels, not getting enough blood flow, and all of a sudden, you need reading glasses. Okay, then your toes, your feet, furthest away from the heart. So what if you can get that blood flow and get it flowing longer in life rather than just when you're young and healthy? So that's what we're going to address again with BEMER. So this is the little design of a capillary vessel. And again, just to repeat, you got to get oxygen nutrients coming in, getting into that exchange area, and then you got to get all the waste coming out through the veins or the venules and out through your body. That's the key to good health, and it's the key to what we want to do here with BEMER. So I love this video. This is a $20 million instrument from Berlin that could actually see inside one of these little capillary vessels. Again, that's 1/10 the size of a hair. And you're going to see good blood flow and poor blood flow. I'll probably see poor blood flow first. So you can see this is a clogged up capillary. It's not moving well on the left-hand side. The right-hand side, very sluggish. Now, 8 minutes after you use this device, BEMER, it actually produces good blood flow. So now it breaks it up. The blood starts moving. You'll start seeing the white blood cells coming up the capillary wall there. And you have to ask yourself the question, and I do this in meetings all the time, do you want bad blood flow or good blood flow? So obviously that's facetious. Everybody says good blood flow. Well, it's not easy to get. Yeah, you can work out and get a little better blood flow. You can use, hyperbaric chambers, compression booths, and they'll all help stimulate some blood flow. But nothing can stimulate this vascular motion to get the blood pumping to about 30% more, which you're going to see in a second. And again, that video and others are on the internet. We can give you sites to go through to get more research. So what I love about BEMER is, Neil and I are here to educate and present this. We're the presenters, right? You don't know me from Adam. I'm over here in the United States. But this is the #1 researcher in the world. His name's Dr. Klopp. He's from Germany. He was actually hired from the government of Germany at one point because they pay all their health care like you guys do. But the government said, look, if we could get elderly people to stay healthier, it'll cut our health care costs down. And so he started studying microcirculation and wrote an entire book on it. And he's considered the top in the world for microcirculation. And after 20 years of researching BEMER and refining our signal, and he doesn't work for BEMER, he's a third-party person, he says now BEMER is the most effective and widely researched physical vascular therapy available today. Now that's a strong statement with all the therapies out there. So take this seriously because nothing else is creating this vascular motion. So you lay on this mat twice a day for 8 minutes, okay? And the body likes to stay between 0 and 30 hertz. So BEMER has a nice low frequency. It stays between 10 and 30 hertz. The body likes it. It reacts to it. And then it stays also between 3.5 and 35 microtesla. So Tesla, the car Tesla, well, that's about energy. How do you measure energy? So if you're walking on the Earth's energy field and they measured that, it ranges from 40 to 60 microtesla. So the BEMER stays at a low energy field, low frequency, the body likes it, it reacts to it. And it's also important because it's safe for anybody. There's no side effects. You could have a pacemaker, you can have metal in your body. If you can walk Earth, you pretty much can use BEMER at a safe rate. Now, there is one counter indication. The people that have organ transplants and they're using an immunosuppressant drug, they're actually trying to kill the immune system to accept the organ. We're building up the immune system. So that's the only people that you don't want to recommend BEMER to. Again, this is a little heavier in the science, and you can do your own research on that if you're science-oriented. So we talked about this earlier. You're going to get more blood flow and oxygen through BEMER. I'll come back to that. And let me talk a minute about our wave or our signal. So the waves out there that most people know are square wave, triangle wave, sawtooth wave, sinusoidal wave. NASA, our scientists use square waves. And they have peaks and valleys times the number of hertz determines the stimulations per second to get the body to maybe do some vascular motion to get it some more pumping. So in all the waves out there, it might be 300 stimulations per second. BEMER has this unique wave with 40 peaks and valleys. It's our wave, and times 30 hertz is 1,200 stimulations per second. So it's the only device that's creating this vascular motion. So here's another analogy. Your heart's trying to pump 2,000 gallons of blood. There's something called cardiac assist or vascular motion. And when you're young and healthy, that's actually helping it pump. And it pumps about 30 to 50 times every 10 minutes. When you're my age, older, sick, diabetic, cancer, not feeling well, whatever, it could drop as low as 1 time per 10 minutes. So this unique wave that hits the body, a BEMER wave hits the body, and the body goes, oh, I like that. It actually stimulates the body to pump again, not quite when you were young, but about 30% more stimulation and increasing blood flow to the capillaries, about 28 to 29% increase in utilization of oxygen, which is huge. I mean, hyperbaric chamber is like 7% pressurized oxygen. It also increases takes out the waste of the body. And what a lot of people don't know, it increases the energy of the cell, the ATP of the cell, up to 18%. So everybody using BEMER will at least come back and say these two things after a period of time. Wow, I feel great energy, sleeping better through the night, and I just overall feel better. That's beside helping all the issues of inflammation and pain and everything else you might have. So there's really no competition to this. I know Neil put out on his email that this is a PEMF device. So it is and it isn't. It's pulse electromagnetic field, because that's what we are. But it's not about PEMF. It's about this unique wave that we're using PEMF to carry it to your body to stimulate this vascular motion. So we have no competition. There's nothing in the world you're going to find that could do what BEMER does. However, there is perceived competition. So for instance, if you go on the internet, a lot of times this IMRS pops up. They're a 20-year-old PEMF device. It's a little older in technology. They have no research in the United States from a medical standpoint. And when you look at a third-party independent study, none of them even stimulated the blood flow and oxygen at more than 10%. BEMER was over 30%. And even on day 4, they turned off all the units, and our residual value was still higher than anybody other PEMF device, even when it was on. So there's more research on this, but don't get confused by Dr. Google and Dr. Yahoo if you read something. BEMER has all the medical studies. They have a lot of research behind them, been around 20 years, and has nothing that can stimulate the body like BEMER. So here basically what it is. It's the B box. It's a computer program. It's touch screen. It has 10 intensity levels of energy, 3 programs that can do different things for your body. There's a sleep mode, light therapy, which I'll talk about in a minute, and you can do 2 applications at the same time. So basically, you're laying on this mat, okay, twice a day, 8 minutes. It's systemic, covers the whole body. There's no advantage doing it more, but there's a great advantage of doing it twice a day. So that blood flow you saw will last about 12 to 15 hours. So ideally, if you do it twice a day, it'll work. So one of the reasons people use this so consistently is because I want to repeat again, it's not 30-minute therapy. It's not a 45-minute. It's not a TENS unit where you got to be on it for an hour and a half. It's 8 minutes. You can lay there, meditate, pray, do your Calm app, whatever, and you'll get systemic results throughout the whole body. Then we have targeted applicators. So we have a B spot, which you see there on his elbow. We have a B pad and a B sit. So these are specified to a certain area. So for instance, I play a lot of tennis. If I have tennis elbow, I put the B spot to that targeted area. And those you can do 3-4 times a day if you'd like. The B pad, your lower back, your legs, your shoulder, B sit, obviously, if you sit a lot. So a lot of the athletes, and just so you know, like in Europe, Nadal put him into his camp over there in Spain. Roger Federer has been using the BEMER for many years. The Swiss Olympic team, ski team has over 40 BEMERs. So there's a lot of people, athletes. And why do athletes love BEMER? Because it's quick recovery time when they work out. But if they get injured, they almost recover in half the time. So that's observational for me. But any athlete I've ever given it to, the doc says 12 weeks to heal. It usually be about 6 to 7 weeks if they're willing to really put it on every day consistently. So those are our local applicators. Then we do include an LED light. It's up to 600 nanometers. It's very good for building up collagen, a youthful look, taking wrinkles out. It's good for cuts, burns, and abrasions. Some people in the U.S. love that. They'll buy the whole unit just for the light. And then ultimately, I could tell you, you read any study on anti-aging, living longer, being healthier, it all comes down to the same. Are you getting into REM sleep? Are you sleeping those 6 solid hours? Are you dreaming? And very few people, especially older people, have that. So we have the only patent in the world that has actually proven REM sleep, meaning when you get on BEMER, you got to wait about 4 weeks to use this. But after you use BEMER for about 4 weeks, you put it in your bed. It runs 4 hours during the night, and it puts you in this nice REM sleep. You dream like a baby, and you'll have great results. You can do it once or twice a week, 3 times a week, whatever your body can handle. So, so this is a little bit brief of it. So what's a unit like this cost? I know in medical offices, some of these PMF devices get up to $20,000, $25,000. That's why a lot of people can't afford them. There's some great units out there for $13,000 to $15,000. But here's what I say about cost. I don't know, again, your healthcare system. I know they pay a lot because you guys pay some insurance. But take nutritional products. I know in Europe, a lot of people take a lot of nutritional products. So do you ever think what you spend, if you're spending $50 to $100 on nutrition, do you ever think over 10 years that's $6,000 to $18,000 or whatever it is in pounds? People pay for doctor visits, massages, gym memberships. I don't know if you have deductibles. We pay a lot for deductibles and insurance. How about just getting sick and missing work? If you're elderly, don't you love your grandkids? How bummer is it when you can't go to events because you have an oxygen tank on, or you're not feeling good, or you're not healthy? So everybody spends a lot of money on healthcare. And I know in Europe, they're way more attuned to it. And we're trying to get to how Europe is. So the BEMER comes with the B spot, the B body, the scanner, the B pad, the light, the box, the whole bit. And in the United States, we're paying $6,000 for it plus tax. So we're paying about $6,500. And you know what? It's well accepted because we know what devices cost. And this is a home device that you could have over the next 10 years. So it's actually discounted a lot more in Europe. In Europe, you get it as low as £3,590, which is probably equivalent to about $4,700. So you actually get a lot cheaper in Europe, and that includes the VAT tax, et cetera. So when you break that down over 10 years, that's probably like 30 pounds, a month for you and your entire family to have a medical device in your home twice a day that will absolutely transform your body and do miraculous things with the blood flow and oxygen that nothing else can do. But I am also very respectful of price. When I first heard the price, my wife said, forget it. It took me 30 days to really gear down and get it. But I can tell you now, if someone offered me $20,000 for BEMER and said I could never use it again, I wouldn't give it back. Now, we're doing this as a recording, but if I was in a group setting, a meeting, we usually have 8, 9, 10 people get up and tell their BEMER story, and they're all very positive, miraculous on what they do to the body. So you could get some of that from Neo, and he could send you some videos on that too. And we have some doctor videos on the internet that'll give a lot of good testimonials on what BEMER does. But ultimately, the reason people will pay is because over here in the U.S., we have a great saying, but this is actually from Voltaire in the 18th century, right? We spend the first half of our lives compromising our health to gain wealth, and we spend the second half of our lives spending our wealth to regain our health. And how true it is. I can tell you, when I had open heart surgery, I'd have paid anything to avoid that. You think $6,000? I'd have paid 20 grand. I ask people all the time, oh, you haven't been able to sleep in a while. What would you pay to sleep again? And they'll say, anything. And I'll go, no, give me a number. You spend 20,000 pounds to sleep again? They all go, sure. So I deal with the football players, our football, the NFL called National Football League, and they're now acknowledging BEMER, and I'm allowed to actually contact all 5,000 alumni. And of course, you guys get beat up, they get hit, they wear the helmets, but they're still in bad shape. And the number one complaint is most of them haven't slept in 10 years. They're a mess. And that's their number one results when they use the BEMER. So we know health is everything. Over in the United States, I have a good saying. I go, if you can make it to 64 years old without a stroke, heart attack, or cancer, you're actually going to live at least 20 more years. That's the good news. The bad news is most of us in America wake up and we go, honey, did you save for the next 20 years? And none of us have any money. Or we wake up and say, wow, we don't want to live with bad health in our golden years, and let's make sure we're healthy. So BEMER is going to give people a much better opportunity. We have a 3-year warranty on it, all systems upgrade. If you ever come out with a new signal, they just give you a USB stick. You can upgrade the signal. We have a hotline you can call for medical questions. Again, I mentioned a lot of athletes. Maybe some of you know this famous skier who won 5 World Cups. He's an ambassador for us and really promotes BEMER. And some of these other athletes that I'm not familiar with, but you might be, because they're all from Europe, or most of them from Europe. The other thing I do want to mention is, I know a lot of people love their dogs and cats, and if you think there's placebo, if you have a cat especially, they instantly feel the energy field. So when you turn this on, they'll almost always gravitate. Same with dogs. So a lot of people will pay anything for their animals to have better health. And we also introduced a new horse unit. So if you're in the horse arena, this is about, I think this runs maybe about 3,000 pounds. And I can tell you, if you put this on a horse, every single time the horse drops his head, licks his chops, leans, and when trainers see the horse relaxing, because it's a hyper animal, right? They get so excited. If you can leave it there a couple of days, almost every time they will buy it, because 3,000 pounds to a horse owner is nothing. It's like buying a cup of coffee with the money they're spending on horses. So that's also a good indication that BEMER works, because again, there's no placebo. So if you're with people, obviously you can hear testimonials. We don't have them for this call. And I just want to end it with this. If you're going to invest in a company and a unit, you want to know it's solid. So again, the company's over in Liechtenstein. They're all about quality, not quantity. This is a registered medical device. So we want to make sure people use it properly. We want to make sure it works. But we do offer, listen to this, we do offer a 30-day money-back guarantee of 90%. So that means you can use the BEMER for 30 days, and your risk is basically 400 pounds, and the rest of the money will be returned to you. And during that 30 days, you could have you and your whole family use it twice a day. And I can tell you this, our statistic in the company is less than 0.08, less than 1% have ever returned this unit. If that's not a testament, I don't know what is. This is Peter Glad, our owner, always about quality. This is the office over in Liechtenstein. It's all German engineered, Swiss craftsmanship, so it's high quality. It's going to last you 10, 15 years. Again, some statistics about the company. It's privately owned. It's all in-house manufacturing. What's important about that is we're not asking you to be third-party people getting this unit. This comes right from Liechtenstein, right to your home. No in-between. We make all the product. Obviously, the parts are from different parts of the world, probably. Again, less than 1% return. Major endorsements. We're open in 42 countries. This is our new office in California, 20,000 square feet, a really commitment to the U.S. We just started really building this 3 years ago, and we're doing extremely well. Actually, we're outselling all Europe now, because there's a lot of people that need BEMER in the United States, and of course, we're huge. So, that's pretty much it. But I do want to say one other thing before I end this. Neil could talk a little bit more about the science if he wants. But I will say this, when you get passionate about this product and you use it, it will not only change your life, but I tell people it's very rare in life that you find something that you could do with a passion and economically support your family. So this presentation tonight was not about our business. And we're not a multi-level marketing. We're a direct sale company with a medical device that has an affiliate program. That's why someone invited you, like Neil. But I do want you to think about this. There's a lot of people out there that are also looking for some extra income when they could do something really good for people. So I'm not going to do our business presentation, but I do want to mention this, that our goal is we want to get a BEMER in every home, including England. And right now, there's only been about a year, there's probably maybe a couple hundred people in England that even know about BEMER or using it. So if you know anybody that can get passionate about health, can get passionate about transforming lives, we need help. We only have a few people right now in all of England. So you don't have to be in sales. We share our story. We talk as a passion. We do recordings like this. You just need to invite people to get educated on BEMER. And our market's huge. Over here we have 78 million baby boomers. I know you have a lot of older people everywhere in the world, in England. Athletes galore will love BEMER. As I mentioned, we have dogs, cats, and horses that could use BEMER. And there's a lot of health professionals that would love to put it in their practice as an extra way to help their patients and also generate income. So, if you know anybody who want to share it, in the United States, these numbers aren't your numbers, but we say to people, if you just share this with a passion with 5 to 6 people, you'll make enough money to actually pay off your BEMER. Okay? If you make 2 to 4 sales a month, you'll make anywhere from 20 to 50,000 pounds a year. And if you want to build an affiliate team, you can make 6-figure income. So again, we have a whole video on our business. That wasn't the purpose. But the reason I tell you this for 2 minutes is because a lot of people are also looking for an income opportunity, and BEMER is very unique. So let's review. We have one product that's amazing. We have massive credibility, and I can tell you in Europe there's a lot more medical research behind BEMER, and Neil will get you that information if you come from a science background. It's a solid company. It's been around 20 years. It's this new emerging industry called bioenergy. Obviously, it's global. There's an untapped market in England. And if you want to do our business, we have a great compensation plan. So I will tell you, it's been phenomenal. And I want to end it with one picture for you, one video picture. And I'm going to go through this towards the end. And this is not saying that we heal disease, but I want to show you the power of BEMER when you really use it. And I'll wrap up with this. So again, this doesn't heal anything or cure anything. It assists the body in healing itself. So just show you something with our light alone. A lot of kids have acne, right? Use the light on your face. Within a couple of days, acne usually goes away. Here's someone with terrible disease called psoriasis, blood flow issue. 15 days on BEMER, you can see it's almost gone. This is eczema. A couple days, getting better. This is a lady that's a friend of ours that was told she might have some cancerous thing on her nose. She was depressed, didn't want to get an operation. We put her on BEMER, put the light on. You can see 15 days later, the tag's almost completely gone. Now this is someone who has diabetic neuropathy. So he has a toe ulcer. It was too late to help him out there, but the doctor said eventually to lose more toes. We put him on BEMER. 8 weeks later, you can see the blood flow, the nice circulation. Of course, a lot better. Then leg ulcer, just took 9 months to get better with BEMER. And I'll just end it with this. Here's the BEMER before and after on a diabetic leg ulcer. You can see blood flow again. Someone has shingles. A guy just fell off his bike, I'm going to skip that. And also, this is important, eyes. People have floaters. Usually they go away pretty quick. Cataracts, it always helps. Dry macular degeneration. And if you're injured, this is pretty amazing. You show this to an orthopedic surgeon, they can't believe this bone fused in 8 weeks. This would have normally been about a 16-week process. So, we get a lot of results. I told you about the athletes and so forth. And this is the end of the result. I'll just show you right here. So, no side effects to BEMER. It increases 28% vascular motion, 29% increase in blood flow, 31% get rid of waste. And this is almost unheard of, 29% increased oxygen utilization. So ultimately, BEMER can help you in every area of your body because blood flow and oxygen are the key. And take a serious look at this. Obviously transformed our lives here. And we're having probably the most blessed time of our life sharing this with so many people in the U.S. And we'd love to come to England and help spread the good word with Neil. So Neil, that's my presentation. I thank you for bringing me on, and I'm excited that you're involved, you're sharing the message, and hopefully we could bring England into the forefront of a lot of people using BEMER. So back to you.
George, thank you so much. That was really such a great presentation. I've not seen that one before.
Oh no. Okay.
And it's really, yeah. I've got a few thoughts actually. That thing on that Glaxo talked about with electroceuticals. That's so interesting. I'd never heard of the term electroceuticals. And I love the idea of no side effects because that's the main problem that most people are experiencing. And we end up being kind of conditioned to think it's normal to be on drugs as we age, but I'm on a mission, as you know, to kind of help people come off drugs, understand that every illness, every common illness or chronic disease has a root cause, and the drugs they just mask symptoms and they don't get to the root cause. So the idea of BEMER not having side effects is obviously incredible. You mentioned eyes, and I'm glad you brought that up again because it's kind of almost considered normal to lose your eyesight as you age. And I've recently discovered that it's not actually normal. It's actually down to things like we're talking about. It's down to poor vasomotion, poor blood flow, and the microcirculatory pathways, if you like, around, I think you said 74% of your body is microvascular,
little microvascular. And I would love to say, think about how amazing the body is. Circles the earth 2.5 times. That's how many capillaries you have in your body. And in the United States, another reason the doctors don't gear in that, because when you take drugs, there's no receptors in the capillaries, so drugs can't affect the capillaries. So, it's a big deal to be able to get blood flow in a different way because the drugs are going to do it anyway. And that's not the solution. So, again, you're more holistic over there than we are, but we're learning it and hopefully catching up soon.
Yeah. My mum was just recently been diagnosed with glaucoma, actually. So that was another reason why we got it. I think you told me that more people have more results with their eyes more than anything else. Is that correct?
Well, I don't know. Again, I don't want to make quite those claims because this is observational. But what I said was, I travel the whole country. I do a lot of presentations. And over here, we do 2-day academies where we train you. So I've heard probably, I'd say 6,000 people now stand up and give a 90-second story. And I could tell you almost consistently, especially elderly people that get floaters, see those floaters across their eyes, I'd say 95% in those academies always tell me they go away within a week or two, and people have good results with cataracts and even dry macular degeneration. So I don't know if it's the number one thing, but I always get great comments. I would say if I had anything that was the number one, it's always energy, as I mentioned, sleep bettering. And people get a lot of great results with backs, because it breaks up inflammation. So if they have back issues, they feel something pretty quick. But I want everybody to know when they get it, it's not about a feeling, obviously. I love to say this to everybody. Does BEMER work? I say, every time you lay on the mat for 8 minutes, here's what it always does. Increases blood flow, increases oxygen, detoxes the body, and brings more energy to the cell. Does that every time. What I don't know is if your body's going to be affected in 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year. Now, in most cases, you're getting pretty good results quickly. But listen, if someone has arthritis for 40 years, it might not go away with their pain in 1 day, right? I didn't get it in 1 day. So I like the people to be realistic. But again, do your research. Every doctor, even the medical doctor in the U.S. will say this: can't hurt you. More blood flow, more oxygen is the key to life. And that's what we offer people that nobody else could do. So, it's very powerful from that perspective.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, you absolutely can't say no to better circulation, better blood flow. That's a really good point. I've got one question about the ICES device, because a friend of mine just bought it, and I wasn't fully familiar that this wasn't strictly PMF, or rather it's got its own technology, isn't it?
You talking about IMRS?
Do you know the ICES?
ICES. I do not.
Okay. All right. Ignore that one.
I mean, it's another PMF device, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So look, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, there's a few devices out there. I think you gave a pretty solid presentation as to why the BEMER is so successful. It's got this partnership with NASA, and it's got its own wave, which is pretty cool. Its own patented wave. So I think you've answered that question.
And again, I want to reemphasize, nobody stimulates the vascular motion as high as BEMER. There's no reason. So even all the other PMF devices, at least here in the United States, there's no medical research behind any of them over here. Like our highest standard is PubMed. It's the medical journal for the medical field. So when you see a medical doctor in the United States, they don't care about any of our presentations or stories or testimonials. They always say the same thing. Is there actually any medical research in PubMed? Because that's third-party clinical peer-reviewed studies. And we have over 30 to 40 of those in PubMed, and all the other PMF devices combined don't have one. So it's not that PMF isn't good for you. It does stimulate some blood flow and oxygen, but nothing's creating the vascular motion like we are, and that's why it's so impressive what it's doing. But again, I always tell people, listen, I'm the presenter. You don't know me from Adam. Get the device, use it. You have 30 days, because at the end of the time, everybody really wants to know this. Is it going to help me in my issue? Because nothing else is helping right now, and that's what they want to see. And like I said, you have 30 days, and you can always send it back, no questions asked, etc. So anyway, if you don't have anything else, it's actually a Greek Orthodox, and our Easter is this week, not last week. And this is our Holy Week, and I got Holy Wednesday, and I got to go to church, believe it or not, at 4 o'clock Eastern time. So I appreciate everybody getting on this. And I want to end saying this. There's always 3 types of people that I always run into. One is you're just very science-oriented, need the medical research, then get the videos from Neil and do all your own research. Second person is, hey, I'm ready to get healthy. I get it. Order your BEMER. It comes from Liechtenstein. You get it in a week and so forth. And then those that are on there and say, I'd love to also know about how to share this with others. I designed a little 12-minute video that you can hear more about our business. So, and if those that aren't ready for it, keep educating yourself, because I always say the same thing. In time, it comes down to what's more painful, the pain you're in or the pain of spending some money and buying the product. But ultimately, this will transform your life. So I appreciate it, Neil, but I do got to run. And thank you all, and I look forward to coming to England in the near future and doing some presentations with you.
Thank you, George. The show was really good. Really appreciate your time.
Okay, thank you.
We'll switch over to questions.